Let's move along now to our first side attack, which is the side kick. Now the side attack is where you'll throw your techniques facing your opponent from the side. For an example, a fighting stance. Our other techniques that we've thrown, front snap kick, vertical kicks, axe kicks, we faced them front facing. Side attacks are generally more favorable because you're not offering your opponent as many openings as you are on front facing. Okay? Now the side kick is one of the most powerful standing kicks there is. And it's because you're able to utilize your abdomen, your buttocks, all your leg muscles. Therefore, your bigger muscles, you're able to generate more power in your kicks. Now before we begin, we're going to still do the initial push-off, just as we did in our other back strikes, or our other back leg kicks. But we're going to do a difference. Instead of the preparation we did for the front kicks, we're going to do them side facing. And that's just as important, that we prepare or chamber the leg into the body before executing it. So at this time, set yourself in your walking or your fighting stance. Make it again a fixed stance with your hands up. I want you to do the initial push-off. But now, instead of coming and facing front facing, I want you to turn and bring it to the side. And it's important that the knee comes to the chest and the heel as tight to the buttocks as possible. Now the striking area for the side kick is two. We have two striking areas, which will be with the heel and with the knife blade. Now we use them according to different areas of the opponent's body that we're going to strike at. When we strike with the heel, it's more or less a smashing tool. Think of it as a large log you're ramming into your opponent. When we use it with the knife blade, we need to identify certain areas. For an example, if I'm facing my opponent front to front or in a fighting stance and I want to strike at his knees for a knee strike, I generally would use a knife blade. Why? Is because it's a lot larger. I have more surface or area to execute my attack. Compared to if I strike with the heel, I may glance off. Okay? I'm going to use the heel generally in areas such as the trunk of the body where I have more area to strike at. Maybe into the ribs or into the solar plexus or into the groin. I'll identify certain areas and use those areas with the knife blade. For an example, if I want to identify just a certain rib, I can use the knife blade. If I'm striking him onto the front and I want to strike into the esophagus, I may want to use a knife blade to get in there, or into the philtrum under the nose, I may use a knife blade. Okay? So after we get going in this kick, it's important that you know which tool of your foot that goes into your opponent's vital areas. Okay? Let's go back to that right leg, walking or fighting stance. Let's work on the preparation. And we're going to make it one fluid movement. Do the initial push-off and tuck it to the body. Now the tuck is just as important in these kicks, and I recommend that you take the time. Don't neglect this tuck or this preparation. Again, why do we need it? Let's cover them again. We need the tuck, first of all, so we're able to initiate our kicks not only in long range. If you don't have the tuck, you're doing a cheater kick. You're kind of only just half throwing it out. You're not going to get the power that you could if you prepared it. Remember, where you have distance, if I have distance here, look, I have a lot more distance from A to Z compared to if I didn't fully chamber the leg into the body. I've lost distance, therefore I've lost speed and power. Another reason is I'm not able to execute this kick at a closer range. Remember our ranges. Long range, we have kicking. Mid-range, we have hand techniques. Close range, elbows, knee strikes, takedowns, etc. Okay? So it's important that the leg is chambered to the body so we're able to execute it at a closer range. So now we're in mid-range. If I try to cheat on this kick, what I mean by cheat is not chamber it to the body and I do a half preparation. What have I done? By the time I execute this technique, look what I'm doing. I'm raking my opponent's body. Therefore, the kick's not as effective. But if I take that 1/10 of a second and prepare it and chamber it into the body, look what it does. It gives me my distance. I'm still in mid-range. It gives me my distance, so I'm able to initiate this kick now low, mid, or high. Okay? So that's so important. So let's now work on the push-off, work on the preparation. If a partner is available with the focus mitt, let's start at mid-range. Remember, we're going to work it slow. We're not worried about power and speed at this time. We're worried about just good preparation, balance, and execution of the technique. Okay? Your right leg back, same push-off.